What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire update. In this video, I want to go over some of the new very exciting information regarding HBO's upcoming Game of Thrones shows like House of the Dragon Season 3, as well as the new series about Aegon Targaryen and his sister wives Rhaenys and Visenya. I gotta admit, I am feeling incredibly anxious and excited about the new Game of Thrones series that will highlight Aegon's historical conquest of Westeros. After roughly a full year of writing, it looks like the show's head writer Mattson Tomlin has finally submitted his script for the first season. He revealed this during a series of new updates on his social media. Now, the first thing he shared this week was a gif of Kermit the Frog feverishly working on his typewriter. He actually shared the same thing last summer after a fan asked him about the Aegon show. That fan wondered if he was still writing for the series. As a big fan of Game of Thrones and George R.R. Martin's novels, they said, "I would love to see a show about Aegon's conquest." Only a few days ago, he sent shockwaves throughout the Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire fandom after he shared another new gif that shows a dragon burning down a castle. He followed that up with another update that said, "I have written so much this year." And finally, just yesterday, he said, "Handing in scripts feels good." Now, Mattson is writing the second Matt Reeves Batman movie as well, but unless Batman is about to ride or fight a damn dragon, I think we're about to finally get our first live-action series about Aegon the Conqueror. I know a lot of us have been waiting for this ever since the original Game of Thrones series ended roughly 6 years ago. I cannot wait to see Balerion the Black Dread, Meraxes, and Vhagar as they rain down fire from the skies over Westeros, as they unite the Six Kingdoms and help create an empire for House Targaryen. Let me know if you're as excited as I am about the new show. Now I want to go over some of the new information regarding House of the Dragon's third season. As many of you already know, HBO is currently filming the upcoming season of House of the Dragon. They are actually starting to film some of the big battle sequences this week. According to at least one source, House of the Dragon will feature the infamous first battle at Tumbleton during its Season 3 finale. If the information is accurate, House of the Dragon's third season will end with a spectacular battle, unlike last season's finale. We do have some photo evidence of them setting the stage for this massive battle. In some of these photos, we can see the Hightower army, who is suited in their body armor, as well as many other houses as they get ready for one hell of a fight. They've also been filming scenes with at least one of the dragons in the same location. Now, they're not going to be able to afford to adapt every battle in Fire and Blood. Therefore, they may combine both battles at Tumbleton inside one episode. With only 16 episodes left, and over a dozen different battles to adapt, they're going to have to find creative ways to highlight some of these major events. And the battles at Tumbleton are no exception. They are remembered as one of the most shocking events during the Dance of the Dragons. I want to show you what it actually says about them in George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. It says, "On the headwaters of the mighty Mander stood Tumbleton, a thriving market town and the seat of House Footley. The castle overlooking the town was small, garrisoned by no more than 40 men, but thousands more had come upriver from Bitterbridge, Longtable, and farther south. The arrival of the force of Riverlords swelled their numbers further and stiffened their resolve. Fresh from their victory at the Butcher's Ball came Sir Gerald Grey and Longleaf the Lion Slayer, with the head of Sir Criston Cole upon his spear, Red Rob Rivers and his archers, the last of the Winter Wolves, and a score of landed knights and lords whose lands lay alongside the banks of the Blackwater. All the forces who gathered under Rhaenyra's banners at Tumbleton numbered roughly 9,000, according to Grand Maester Munkin. Other accounts say the number was as high as 12,000 or as low as 6, but in all these cases, it seems obvious that Rhaenyra's men were greatly outnumbered by Lord Hightower's incredible force. No doubt the arrival of the dragons Vermithor and Silverwing with their riders was most welcome by the defenders of Tumbleton. Little could they know about the horrific fate that awaited them. The how and when and why of what has become known as the treason of Tumbleton remain a matter of much debate, and the facts of all that happened will likely never be known. It does seem that certain of those who flooded into the town, fleeing before Lord Hightower's army, were actually a part of his army, sent ahead to infiltrate the ranks of the defenders. As you can see, Lord Hightower disguised some of his own men as the enemy. That way he could infiltrate the castle walls at Tumbleton. Not only that, but two of the Blackwater men who had joined Rhaenyra's Riverlords on their march south were secretly in support of King Aegon as well. Yet their betrayals would have counted for little had not Sir Ulf the White and Sir Hugh Hammer also chosen this moment to switch their allegiance. This was obviously a significant blow to Rhaenyra's forces because this also meant she would lose the dragons Vermithor and Silverwing to Aegon's side. Now, most of what we know about Ulf the White and Hugh the Hammer comes from Mushroom. Both of these men were cravens, he tells us. It was only when they saw Lord Ormond's massive host glittering in the sun and stretching along for leagues that they decided to join him rather than fight him. It may be that it was the thought of attacking Tessarion that filled them with fear. During the Battle of the Gauntlet, all the dragons had been on their own side. Now they would have to face them in battle, if they were going to fight against Lord Ormond Hightower's army and Daeron's dragon. This might be why they ultimately betrayed Rhaenyra. Though both Vermithor and Silverwing were older and larger than Daemon's dragon Caraxes and would therefore have been more likely to win in any battle. Others suggest it was greed, not cowardice, that led White and Hammer to betray her. Honor meant little and less to them. It was wealth and status they lusted for. After the Gauntlet and the fall of King's Landing, they had already been granted knighthood, but they desired to be lords and scorned the modest holdings given to them by Rhaenyra. After Lords Rosby and Stokeworth were executed, it was suggested that Ulf the White and Hugh the Hammer be given their lands and castles through marriage to their daughters. However, Her Grace had allowed the traitor's sons to inherit them instead. This is the same thing that Jon Snow did in Game of Thrones when he gave the lands back to the children of Lord Umber and Karstark. Now it goes on to say Storm's End and Casterly Rock were dangled in front of them, but Rhaenyra denied them of these rewards as well. No doubt they hoped that King Aegon might reward them better should they help return the Iron Throne to him. It might even be that certain assurances were made to them in this regard, likely through Lord Larys the Clubfoot or one of his agents, though this has not been confirmed. As neither man could read or write, we shall never know what drove the two betrayers to do what they did. Of the battle at Tumbleton, we know much and more, however. 6,000 of Rhaenyra's men formed up to face Lord Hightower in the field, under command of Sir Gerald Grey. They did fight bravely for a while, but a withering rain of arrows from Lord Ormond's archers thinned their ranks, and a thunderous charge by his heavy horse broke them, sending the survivors running back for the town walls. When most of the survivors were safe inside the gates, Roddy the Ruin and his winter wolves sallied forth from a gate, screaming their horrifying war cries as they swept around the left flank of the attackers. In the chaos that ensued, the Northmen fought their way through 10 times their own number to where Lord Ormond Hightower set his warhorse beneath Aegon's golden dragons and the banners of Old Town and the High Tower. As the singers tell it, Lord Roderick was bloody from head to heel as he came on, with his broken shield and cracked helmet, yet so drunk with battle that he did not seem to feel his injuries. Now Sir Brendan Hightower, Lord Ormond Hightower's cousin, put himself between the Northman and his liege, taking off Roddy the Ruin's shield arm at the shoulder with one swift blow of his long axe. Yet the savage Lord of Barrowton fought on, slaying both Sir Brendan and Lord Ormond with only one arm, before he died. Lord Hightower's banners fell over, and the townsfolk gave a great cheer, thinking the battle had shifted in their favor. Even the arrival of Daeron and his dragon across the field did not scare them, for they knew they had 2 dragons of their own. But when Vermithor and Silverwing suddenly released their fires upon Tumbleton, those cheers instantly became screams of horror. It seemed as if they found themselves standing on the field of fire, Grandmaster Munkin wrote. That's when Tumbleton went up in flames, shops, homes, septs, and the residents who lived there. Everything suddenly went up in smoke and ash. Men fell burning from the gatehouse and battlements, or stumbled shrieking through the streets. Outside the walls, Daeron swept down upon his dragon. Ulf the White and Hugh the Hammer engulfed the town with whips aflame from one end to the other, and the sack that followed was as savage as any in the history of Westeros. Tumbleton, the once thriving market town, was reduced to nothing but ash and embers. Thousands burned, and as many died by drowning as they tried to escape by swimming in the river. Some would later say they were the fortunate ones, for no mercy was shown to the survivors. Lord Footle's men threw down their swords and surrendered, only to be bound and beheaded. And the women who survived the flames were raped over and over again, even the girls who were as young as 8 years old. The old men and the boys were executed, while the dragons feasted on their dead bodies. As you can imagine, Tumbleton would never be the same. After the dust had finally settled, the small folk said the very ground was haunted by those who had died. It has to be considered one of the most horrific battles that unfolded during the Dance of the Dragons. Now, I don't know how much they will actually show, but this is what we're going to see in the upcoming season finale. It will be significantly different from how they ended last season. We are finally going to see the atrocities that fell upon House Targaryen as they dismantled their own dynasty from within. Get ready, my friends, because I think we're about to be in for one hell of a ride. Let me know what you think about all this new information down below. Once again, I want to thank all of you for watching another video. There's a lot more heading your way. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you again very soon. Bye.